Coming up in today's Today in History, a tale of two Marys. Yes, you heard that right. On the final frontier. Any ideas? Keep watching and all will be revealed. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sotonye Afiesimama. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. Over the last few days, I've been getting quite a lot of subscribers. I appreciate you, especially for the new subscribers. Thank you so much. If you're a returning visitor, why not subscribe like the rest who have done over the last few days so that you receive updates of my video uploads. And if you're here for the first time, thank you for dropping by to my channel. Here I discuss, obviously, important events that have occurred today in history. The idea is, there's a saying that history tends to repeat itself. If we look at what has happened in the past, in the recent past, and distant past, human behavior hasn't changed fundamentally. So hopefully from this channel, when we see events that are unfolding that have a resemblance to events that have happened in the past and how they have turned out, especially negative events, we can then change the course of the events as they are occurring or as they are developing, if you like. And also just to enjoy, hearing and reading about what happened in the past, things that we may not know about, things that we take for granted, certain preconceptions, basically the idea is just to educate ourselves and create a better future for ourselves as well. Okay, so let's get cracking. Let's find out what happened on this day nearly 5 centuries ago. One of the Marys, yes, which I mentioned at the outset, she was born on this day, and her name is Mary, Queen of Scots, pictured right here, dressed very expensively and elegantly. That is Mary, Queen of Scots. 6 days later, after she was born, she became queen. Can you believe that? A 6-year-old baby becoming queen. So this is Mary, Queen of Scots, who was born on this day in 1542. In the year 1854, so 312 years later, another Mary. This time, I will explain. This is the Virgin Mary. And on this day, the Pope made a proclamation. Pope Pius IX proclaimed the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception, asserting that Mary, Jesus' mother, so that's the second Mary, was preserved free from the effects of original sin in quotation marks, from the first instant of her conception. So she was preserved free from the effects of original sin from the first instant of her conception. I'll show you some more pictures of paintings and pictures on this day in 1854. So this is the second Mary, the tale of two Marys, which I talked about, Mary, Queen of Scots, and this is Pope Pius IX. This is the Virgin Mary, Our Lady Immaculate Conception. This was the day in 1854 that Pope Pius IX proclaimed the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception. Now let's move swiftly on to the year 1865. His name is Johan Sibelius. Not his real name. He was born Johan Julius Christian Sibelius on this day in 1865. He was a Finnish composer and violinist of the late Romantic and early modern periods. He is widely recognized as his country's greatest composer, and through his music is often credited with having helped Finland to develop a national identity during its struggle for independence from Russia. I think I did touch on the independence from Russia yesterday, I believe. So that's an interesting coincidence. The core of his oeuvre is his set. So oeuvre is basically a work of an artist. What's the word now? that I'm looking for now. A collection of works by an artist, either a musician or an artist. Okay, I mean, musicians are also referred to as artists, aren't they? A creative person. So, like I was saying, the core of his oeuvre is his set of 7 symphonies, which, like his other major works, are regularly performed and recorded in his home country and internationally. His other best-known compositions are Finlandia. He's from Finland, interesting. The Karelia Suite, Valse, Triste, the Violin Concerto, the Choral Symphony Kullervo, and the Swan of Tuonela from the Lemminkäinen Suite. So again, this is Johan Sibelius, born Johan Julius Sibelius. On this day, he was born in 1865. He died on the 20th of September 1957. Interestingly, there is a sculptural piece that doesn't look anything like him. Wait for this one. That's it. Jean Sibelius Park in Helsinki. Sibelius Monument. It's called the Sibelius Monument, so it's in the park named after him. On this day in 1903, pictured here is Zelma Watson George. She was a well-known African-American philanthropist who is famous for being an alternative in the United Nations General Assembly, and the first African-American headliner in Giancarlo Menotti's opera, The Medium, to play a role that was typically cast by a Caucasian actress. So on this day, Zelma Watson George was born. The year was 1903. She died the day before Independence Day in 1994, July 3rd, beg your pardon, at the age of 91. So it says here in this picture, first African-American woman appointed by President Dwight D. Eisenhower as the only African-American member of the United States delegation to the 19th General Assembly of the United Nations, and that was in 1960. And then one last picture of her in her latter years. That's Zelma Watson George in her library, her home. Let's now move on to the year 1925. Sammy Davis Jr. was born on this day. Sammy Davis Jr. Don't know why I was being tongue-tied there. Born in Harlem, Manhattan, New York City, he was a dancer, singer, multi-instrumentalist, playing the vibraphone, trumpet, and drums. Impressionist, comedian, and actor. He is remembered for his many film appearances and for the hit song which became his signature tune, Candy Man. So Sammy Davis Jr. looking dapper here, born on this day in 1925, sadly died on the 16th of May 1990. Gone Tottin, Sammy Davis Jr. The crooner, looking cool as a cucumber. His latter years. Okay, let's now move on to the year 1933. This guy, I used to watch his shows as a kid in faraway Africa, Nigeria. His name is Flip Wilson. Born on this day, 1933, he was an actor, talk show host. Born Kullervo Wilson Jr. in Jersey City, New Jersey. He's best known as a host of the Flip Wilson Show, which made its debut on NBC in 1970. So the Flip Wilson Show, pictured right here. This takes me way back. I remember this logo, the Flip Wilson Show. Yeah, it's a very flippy logo. Clever advertising. So Flip Wilson was born on this day and sadly passed on the 25th of November 1998 at the age of 65. Now, this is one interesting fact, personal fact. My dad had a very, very close friend who we thought was related to us. And his name was Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson's second son looked a spitting image of Flip Wilson, believe it or not. Today, especially, as he's grown older, he's in his 40s now, he could pass for his twin, obviously born decades apart. Anyway, that's one personal story for you to take home with you. Okay, next we are going to stay in the United States actually, and this guy's name is, this is Jamaica actually, beg your pardon, Jamaica. His name is Toots Hibbert, nickname obviously is Toots. Born Frederick Nathaniel Hibbert in May Pen, Clarendon, Jamaica. He was born in 1945, on this day obviously. He is best known as the lead singer of Toots and the Maytals and is considered the first artist to coin the word reggae in his 1968 hit Do the Reggae. Now reggae is spelled R-E-G-G-A-Y. That's the original spelling. He is most well known for the hits Bam Bam and 54-46, alluding to the time he spent in jail for cannabis possession. He won the Grammy for Best Reggae Album in 2004. He was one of the first artists to use the word reggae on a record as well. So not just saying it, but using it on a record in the 1960s. In 1968, Do the Reggae, AY. So now I'm going to mention something also quite interesting, quite coincidental, but quite sneaky as well, I think. And this is quite interesting. So while I was preparing my notes for this broadcast, I stumbled upon Toots Hibbert, and I didn't know he was late because the source that I got this from didn't say that he was late. And then today, while just going around YouTube, the name popped up. And I'm like, this name looks familiar, this name looks familiar. I'm sure I have just done a video about him, or I'm just about to do a video about him, of his life. And then this video was like, this guy's dead. So I did a bit of digging and I found out he died on the 11th of September, in December now, so nearly 3 months ago. We lost Toots Hibbert. So then I thought, was this video suggested to me because YouTube or Google had snooped on my notes on my computer and then suggested this video to me? There's something to think about. I'm pretty sure that's what they've done. Very clever people, aren't they? Very, very clever. That's what a lot of advertisers use these days to follow you. They call them cookies, but I think this is going beyond cookies now. Because I didn't allow them to set up any cookies to follow me around my searches, Anyway, it's something to consider, when you're browsing the internet. Don't be surprised if you go on a site and you're being followed by advertising tailored to that site or to that product or service that you searched for. So that's a brave new frontier that we're looking at now. Yeah, I did mention something about the new frontier. So keep watching and all will be revealed. All right, let's now go on to the next occurrence on this day. Sadly, in 1980, on this day, John Lennon was assassinated. He was fatally shot by a deranged fan. Ironically, it happened in New York. I say ironically because this is an LP for his performance in New York City. I'm guessing that this was 1980 LP that came out of his performance in New York City. So, British musician on this day, John Lennon, who rose to fame with the Beatles and had a successful solo career, was fatally shot by Mark David Chapman in New York City, causing a global outpouring of grief. Okay, I'll show you some more pictures now of John Lennon. John Lennon doing his thing in New York City. John Lennon again, then a tribute to John Lennon live. So let's move on to the year 1982, so exactly 2 years later, after John Lennon was killed, another musician was born, this time female, Trinidadian-born singer-songwriter and television personality Annika Tanya Maraj Petty. That's her real name, believe it or not. She was born in the St. James district of Port of Spain and raised in Queensboro of New York City. She gained public recognition after releasing the mixtapes Playtime Is Over in 2007, Sucker Free in 2008, and Beam Me Up, Scotty in 2009. So that's Nicki Minaj, Trinidadian-born singer, real name Annika Tanya Maraj Petty. I guess she gets the name Nicki from Annika, and then the Minaj she gets from Maraj, I guess. Okay, so that's Nicki Minaj. Don't think she needs any more introduction. Born on this day in 1982. 5 years later, Kurt Liddell Schmock was inaugurated as the first African-American mayor of Baltimore, Maryland. So that's him pictured here. And that is Nancy Reagan. I guess speaking up or campaigning for him. I don't know. I was too young to know. So 1987 is the year. The date is the 8th of December. That is Kurt Liddell Schmock, who was inaugurated as the first African-American mayor of Baltimore, Maryland. That's Mayor Schmock with a mascot at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. So that's the University of Baltimore mascot. 2010. Yes, so this is a second clue. The final frontier space. Yes, I did mention this at the beginning. So on this day, I guess this picture says it all, SpaceX at least tells part of the story, and that's Elon Musk, entrepreneur, owner of SpaceX with his capsule called the Dragon. So the American aerospace venture SpaceX became the first commercial company to release a spacecraft, the Dragon capsule, into orbit and successfully return it to Earth. So this again is Elon Musk with his SpaceX capsule called the Dragon. It was the first commercial company to release a spacecraft into orbit and successfully return it to Earth. I shall show you some more pictures as usual. This is absolutely cool. It looks like some futuristic spacecraft. Look at the size of the average human being to the capsule. So both sides, the Crew Dragon capsule. Okay, some of these pictures are repeating themselves. I beg your pardon, forgive me. So this is a capsule, presumably after it returned to Earth, because it looks all dusty and yeah, that's it there during its maiden flight. I guess it's an artist's rendition. Very picture graphic. Okay, let's see. Yep, it's another one there. Last but not least, I think I have one more actually. Yeah, looks like it's docking with the International Space Station or something of that nature. Okay, so let's move on to the so last but not least, John Glenn, American astronaut and politician. who was the first US astronaut to orbit the Earth, for which he was regarded as a national hero. He died sadly on this day at the age of 95. So he did very, very well. For someone who was exposed to radiation, he lived longer than most people. So John Glenn, show you some more pictures of him. Obviously, that's a very young John Glenn, very young astronaut. Pictures and pictures, and much older John Glenn, presumably posing for the photograph, the earlier photograph. Don't think he would have been allowed to go into space at that age. It's a young, smart-looking John Glenn. Again, it's a much older man. And he was also a politician, so this is a picture of him, the American flag, and as a politician. John Glenn here making a speech. So on that note, folks, we have come to the end of today's Today in History. So did you get the clue? Did you get the puzzle at the outset correctly? If you did, let me know in the comment section below. So again, I'm going to repeat what I said at the beginning. Coming up in today's Today in History, a tale of two Marys. So one was Mary Queen of Scots, the other one was the Virgin Mary, and then the other clue was a final frontier. So my allusion, I was alluding to Elon Musk's SpaceX Dragon capsule and John Glenn, the astronauts. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for staying with me for these 20 or so minutes. I shall see you tomorrow, December 9th, for another edition of Today in History. Like, share, subscribe. Stay safe. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.